Have you ever thought what would happen if your crush gives you a love letter and your mom finds out? You might assume she would get angry that you brought a girl home, but rather she gets jealous. Then she proceeds to read the letter. And would you look at that, this is a love letter from your crush and your mom fucking reads it. Right, it's the normal thing. You might be assuming you are gonna get an ass whooping, but your mom starts to cry, telling you to not accept the letter. And then you do as she says, the day ends, everyone go home. You are her baby boy, she's your mama, and nothing weird's gonna happen, right? After kissing CH's dad appears and he says, "What are you guys doing lying on the bed?" CH's mom says, "You don't understand anything," and you are then followed up by this face. Next day, Shiichi and his mom went on a date. I mean, it's technically not a date, but they are going to buy clothes. And even though Shiichi can buy clothes for himself, he still goes with his mother. Shiichi's classmate sees him and even jokes about this. Shiichi in school seems like he's dozing off. He's always thinking about something. It's like something happened in the past that we don't know about it. His crush notices it and tries to comfort him, I guess. She asks him, "Did you read the letter that I gave you?" She asks for an answer. But then we are met with this face that Shiichi is making. It's this distressed face where he's just thinking about something. It's almost as if he's scared of something. I think just from Shiichi's reaction, Shiichi's crush kind of guesses that there's something wrong with his mother and him. And the way the author expresses this is just so innocent. It's almost as if love for the first time. By the way, this is gonna be very common that you're gonna see panels with just drawings and nothing really happening on them other than the beautiful drawing that expresses what the characters are feeling and thinking throughout the series. When Shiichi reaches his home, he found his parents fighting. It is then when we remember what the real problem actually was. It was Shige. You might ask, who is Shige? Shige was Shiichi's cousin. Shiichi and his dad are on his way to meet Shige in the hospital. The reason why Shige is in hospital, well, to understand that, we have to start from the start. Shiichi's father's sister and her son are gonna visit Shiichi's family. Shiichi's father asked Shiichi, "You and Shige have a pretty good bonding, right?" And after that, he went to work. And suddenly, the doorbell rang. Well, it's Shige and his mother. Shige and Shiichi are upstairs now, playing games. And Shige suddenly asked Shiichi,
"Say, you know, your family's kinda overprotective.
What does that mean?
Just like, they protect you too much. Like how Aunt Seiko's like, always hovering over you, you know?"
You think so?
Yep, I mean, remember in kindergarten? How Aunt Seiko stood there in the back of the room every day?
Well, she was worried about me. I was always crying and saying I didn't want to go.
Sure, but don't you think it was kinda weird?
yeah, Shiichi that Aunt Seiko is a little overprotective. Like in kindergarten when Shiichi's mother was observing him. This is kind of weird because everyone in the kindergarten just come there and leave their children there, but Seiko always watches over Shiichi. And Shige asks Shiichi, "Don't you think it's kind of weird that everyone was there alone without their parents while your mom was always observing you?" Shiichi says that yeah, she was worried because I cried a lot when I was young. Even though he's a little bit surprised, he kind of brushes it off with, "Don't talk about my mother that way." The day of incident, well, this is what I was talking about previously on the video. Shiichi and his cousin's family went on a trip to a mountain. While they're hiking up the mountain, Shige goes to a cliff and tells Shiichi to come here and take a look. Shiichi's mother tells him to be careful. Well, Shiichi gets a little bit embarrassed, but then he goes to take a look off the cliff and Shige tries to prank him by trying to push him off the cliff. I don't even know what the fuck is this. How do you think of doing that to your cousin? But okay, after hiking, everybody's a bit tired, so now they sit down to eat. And Shige tells Shiichi, "Let's go take a piss." Then Shige goes to another cliff. This is just a bit higher, so Shige tells Shiichi, "Come, take a look. This is a bit higher." Shiichi says, "You're gonna try to push me like you did last time." And then Seiko arrives and tells Shige to not stand there. It's dangerous. Shige is playing around at the cliff of the mountain and suddenly his legs slip and he was just about to fall, but Seiko catches him. Thank God nothing bad happened. Shige fell off the cliff, but he still survived. It was probably the branches and the leaf that helped cushion his fall. He did face an injury to his head that made him unconscious and not being able to speak, but he can still hear you. But why did Seiko push Shige off the cliff? Nobody in the family knows it other than Chiichi. Actually asks his mother why did she push Shige off the cliff. She then simply replies with, "Is it okay if mommy dies?" Well, let's talk about Chiichi's mental health. After what has happened to Shige, Chiichi cannot talk in school. His teacher tells him to read, but he cannot read. He just cannot utter a word after what has happened to his cousin. The horrifying sight that he has to see at a pretty young age is pretty crazy, and on top of that, you add that your mom was the one who threw him off the cliff. Chiichi actually starts to go home late because he don't want to go home and see his mother there. It's like he's scared of her, but there's no one else that can actually make him feel that way. After the incident when Chiichi asks his mother why did you push Shige off the cliff, his mother tries to strangle him for some reason. I wouldn't say she tried, but yeah, she was having the position, and after that Chiichi is constantly holding his neck like someone is strangling her, indicating that when Shige holds Chiichi's neck, he's been traumatized by that. I mean, just imagine you're 13-year-old and your own mother throws your cousin off the cliff and then she tries to strangle you. That would leave permanently some deep marks in your mind that would never really be able to heal. And on top of all of this, Chiichi has to go to school, meet all the friends and all the family like nothing ever happened. Just imagine going to see your cousin and you have to pretend that your mother wasn't the one that threw him off the cliff, and actually police came and asked what happened. His mother tells a story and asks Chiichi what happened, and he has to agree that yes, whatever his mother said was true. Fukishi is the only one that kind of understands what is happening, but he haven't told her anything. She just kind of guesses that something is wrong with Chiichi and his mother. There's something relationship problem, some mental problem, and she actually comes close to him and opens about it that she is having problem with his family too at home, that her and her dad actually fight a lot. And then we fast forward to this scene where they're sitting in park and Fukishi actually leans her head on Chiichi's shoulder and they're just having a moment. This is just environmental genius by Shūzō Oshimi. And suddenly Seiko arrives in the back saying, "I see you." Scared from his mother, Chiichi and Fukishi hide in the bush. She then continues to shout, "You lied to me, you betrayed me, don't you remember we ripped up Fukishi's letter?" And then she said, "How could you let a girl manipulate like that?" This is so weird because she has been manipulating Chiichi since the day he was born to this day, and she still continues to do that, putting more mental pressure on him and making him doubt everything in his life. Then she says, "Did it really upset you so much that I choke you?" And then we are followed up by this scene where Fukishi tells him don't listen to her and tells him to look him in the eyes. And suddenly behind the bush, Shieko's mother arrives and sees them. Shieko tells Fukishi to get away from her, showing her jealousy. Then Fukishi says, "What do you mean by ripping apart my letter?" She says, "Why would you even do that? Why did you do that to Chiichi?" Then she tells him to let go of him right now, right this instant. And then we're followed up by when Chiichi stands up and tells her to get the fuck off. And then we are followed up by this manga panel where she's biting her nails, and this is just horrifying as fuck.